Hello and welcome to the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. It's our final round, round 12 from Hoogerheide in the Netherlands. This is going to be an absolute blast today. It's our women's elite race. The standings, well, at the top of those standings, Lucinda Brand has sealed the win. She can't be touched today. Behind, though, it is going to be close. Fen van Empel mathematically could drop down to fourth, highly unlikely. Zoe Backstead could move up into second and Fen van Empel drop down, so Van Empel will be looking to keep Backstead behind. Backstead will be looking to stay ahead of yesterday's winner, Blanca Vash, who took the win in Maasmechelen. It's a double weekend. It is going to be very telling about how hard the riders went yesterday as to how they are going into today. Let's see how tired our riders are, what they think of today's course, which is already looking incredibly boggy. So I think we can hear from the rider who's sewn up the series with one round to go.
Congratulations on the GC win in the World Cup. One round to go, but it will be for sure a hard one.
It's definitely a hard one. There's a lot of mud, more than other years on different places. So it's going to be a hard battle today, but it's a nice feeling to know that the classification is secured.
Where does your focus shift to now?
I think it's mainly to have a good flow on the course, having good feeling that I make the right decisions in the course, so I can take that with me to next week.
And maybe top it off with a win today.
That would be, of course, the best ideal situation, yes.
Blanca Vash, still the big smile after yesterday's win.
Yes, I'm still happy.
How do you feel about the race of today?
It's a really heavy course with this mud. I think a lot of running. So it's not really for me.
You don't still like running?
No, I really don't like. And also I'm not super good in this heavy mud, but we will see.
Going to the World Championships next week, what do you expect of today's race?
I think another battle. It's a hard race, of course, but there are a lot of girls in good shape at the moment, so I expect an excited battle.
Puk Pietersen, any consequences after yesterday's crash?
Well, not really, luckily. So I came off that without too many injuries.
Final round of this year's World Cup. How do you feel about the course?
Yeah, it's a bit heavier than normally, with a bit more mud, but we'll make for exciting battles, I think.
Zoe Backstead, as this course has been almost flooded the last few days, this one should suit you.
Yeah, it's from the last however many editions I've ridden, it's the complete opposite. So it's going more towards what yesterday was like, but still there's still some grass there today.
It was a close one yesterday. How do you feel after that?
Yeah, some self-reflection and everything after the race, and I have to say I'm happy with it for sure. It was not an easy finish, and I really wanted that win, and I think I came quite fast in the end, and if it was 100 metres further then maybe I could have sprinted it out, but Blanca is also Tour de France winner, Vuelta stage winner, so it's not an easy sprint, but I'm in the end happy with it.
Really interesting to see the massive smile on Zoe Backstead's face there when thinking about today's racing, and some self-reflection because she was bitterly disappointed yesterday at the end of the race in Maasmechelen where Blanca Vash took the victory. Lucinda Brand looking for a victory here today. 2 wins here previously in 2020 and 2019. And then Van Empel, though, taking the win the last time we were here and taking, of course, her world title in 2023. So going to be a rider very hard to beat on this course. It is heavier, it's boggier. The weather at the moment, well, 6 degrees centigrade, 18-kilometre winds and 45 to 55-kilometre gusts today. The wind coming from the southwest. There is rain forecast, not due to arrive until 4 o'clock local time, but with the speed of the wind, it may well blow in. So with the rest of the race field gridded at the base of the hill, the winner of the World Cup already, Lucinda Brand, makes her way down in that leader's jersey. Now, should really be titled the winner's jersey. She's got 2 wins so far, 6 second places, 2 third places, never off the podium in the World Cup. Regularly on the podium here, 2 wins, 2 second places and a third. She's been on the podium 5 out of the 6 times she's ridden here. Now, in terms of World Cup wins, Fem van Empel absolutely flying. 4 wins so far, a second place, third place in Dendermonde. The winner here in the World Cup and the winner of the World Championships here. She's ridden 8 rounds of the World Cup compared to 10 rounds to Lucinda Brand. She can't close down on Brand, but she does need to keep one eye on the rear view mirror behind, because Zoe Backstead will be looking forward to today. 2 second places at Zonhoven and at Maasmechelen, a third place at Dublin. Ridden all 10 rounds, 30 points behind Fem van Empel, and leading in the under-23 competition. That's the jersey. You can see the blue jersey, dark blue at the base and the light blue on top. A big cheer for yesterday's winner, Blanka Vash, saying this course won't necessarily suit her, but she is good when it is slippery, and it may well be that that's where we're starting to head, rather than just the deep tractor type mud that we often see when the courses start to dry out after overnight rain. Blanka Vash, 11th at the Worlds here in 2023. Now, next rider coming down, Marie Schreiber, 2nd in the under-23 competition, 5th overall, 18 points behind Blanka Vash. So if Vash doesn't have a good day today and Schreiber has a better day than yesterday, then she may move back up, dropping down in those standings. A win at Holst and 2 third places, Amsterdam and at Benidorm. We'll see whether she can take away a higher spot today. Inge van der Heijden, no podiums in the World Cup so far. 2 fourth places, the best of her performances in riding all 10 rounds run so far, with the 3rd round at grass not being run. 9th place here in 2020, the best of her positions here in the World Cup. A 7th place in the World Championships, just slightly better. Former world champion Celine Alvarado looking for wins and to go into the World Championships with good feelings. She makes her way down here, 6th here in 2020, 5th here in the Elite World Championships in 2023. She's got a big mountain to climb to move up in terms of points, but likely to be right up in the mix. Puk Pieterse, the last rider to be called to the line, the Netherlands national champion. The 2nd place in Dendermonde, 2 third places, Namur, Holst and Havre. 2nd place, the silver medalist at the World Championships that were here 2 years ago. Can she improve on that? Her best place in a World Cup here is her 3rd place in 2022. We'll see if she can move up. Behind these riders, a little bit further back down the grid, riders to watch on row 2. Watch out for Anne-Marie Verst, a rider who's had 2nd and a 3rd place here previously, back on form after that break. A fantastic performance from her yesterday. On row 3, Sydney McGill, Sarah Casasola, Celia Jerry and Sana Kant in her last World Cup race. We'll be looking to move through the field and put a good result in here. On row 4, watch out for Isabella Holmgren, a phenomenal ride yesterday, and this is of course where she won her title, her Junior World Championship back in 2023. On row 5, the legendary Marianne Vos, again looking to move up through the race field, getting better and better as we run into the World Championships. And Kat Ferguson, the rider to watch on row 6, and the rider from the Movistar team, potentially likely to be straight up into that top 20 or so positions, moving up and through. Is it Zoe Backstead's day today? Well, it's time to find out. Backstead rolling intermediate tyres on that bike by the look of it, alongside Marie Schreiber. Schreiber known for her fast start. Not necessarily the case yesterday. In fact, yesterday was not a day she will want to remember, dropping down the standings. The Belgian champion Marianne Ribeiro alongside Leonie Bernfeld. All these riders getting poised, ready to spring out and away from the start line. The tape will be withdrawn, and we will see who is going to take that right-hand turn. The course today, the total length of the course, 3,200 metres long. 400 metres of tarmac of asphalt, 2.5k of grass, 300 metres of woodland, all in front of the riders as the lights turn green, and Fem van Empel sprints off from the centre there on the start pile up at the back of the grid there. So a number of riders already clipping wheels further back down the grid. You can see Closel up on the right of our screen. She's going to be on the outside as they take the right hand turn. Just looking to see if we've got any notable riders missing, but it was at the back of the grid, so the key leaders up at the front. It's Van Empel who leads in with Closel on her left-hand side. Verst not far off the mixer, Anna Kay, the rider going up over the top there in a good position. You can see just how deep this is as Schreiber hits the deck and he's piled into by riders behind. She came down heavy. There was 2 or 3 riders carrying the momentum forward, including Nobel Riverol, who went flying in to the Luxembourg champion as Closel rides down the left-hand side. Being able to run, knowing where to remount is absolutely key on this course as they're going to come around past pit number 1. And look who's up near the front already from row number 5 up into the front 5. Marianne Vos clearly loving the conditions, but not as much as we see from Closel. Closel with a fantastically fast start there, quick bike change there. Clearly had a bike to get up to the pit quickly. And a mass change here as they go through Celia Jerry going through the pit area there. Looks like Blanca Vash going through the pit area. Alicia Frank. Closel though in and out quickly, leading this race out as they come diving down the side of the course here in Hoogerheide in the final round of the UCI World Cup for 2024-25. So Closel in the race lead, Van der Heijden picking up the pace just behind in second position. Then you can see Van Empel moving on, tight left hand turn, dive into the woods. This usually really deeply rutted, big move on the outside there coming round for Van der Heijden, but on the inside came Van Empel. A real mix of lines behind. It's not going to rut up if they keep on taking the different choices they come through. Brand being pushed back behind Backstead. These early stages really tricky for the riders coming in and round the mud, as deep as I've seen it. Been on site a number of times and been able to see just how muddy this section is, and I don't think I can remember it being this muddy for a long time. It's muddy down in the lower slopes away from the top of this section. Fast downhill, come out of the woodlands, head down in towards those lower fields, dropping out and round the course here very quickly. You can see it's still greasy down on these lower sections. This is a very fast right-hand turn for out there for Vos, for Van der Heijden as well. Van Empel moves to the front of the race. This has surely got to be a moment where all the riders need to be very attentive. We're only 3 minutes into the race, and if Van Empel starts to accelerate up and now starts to move up, then the rest will be in trouble. Lucinda Brand moving up on her to the heels of Closel. I think he's going to be looking to make a move. She has tried to close that gap up, but you can see, look at this, a very quick move being made by Puck Petersy, who comes up and through, and Brand just reaching down, tightening up the shoes there. She would look like she was a lot closer just coming into that climb section, so dropping back down and through. Down past VIP, really boggy section down here. It's like there's an old drainage ditch underneath the mud down here. It's always very slippery. Backstead foot out there. Leading group starting to pull clear. Leonie Benford, the last rider in that group. So about 10 riders just staying clear at the moment. I think there's a flat rear tyre there potentially for at least one of the riders, if not two. Just seeing a shout out there from Schreiber. We know she's been down early. She has already been in and changed that bike as the riders come back up towards the woodland again. This bank is incredibly sticky today. Normally when we come away from VIP and back on here, this is a ride all the way up and through. It was at the World Championships a couple of years ago. Today it is a real slog. You could just see people trying to get back on and ride. Backstead doing so. Remount from Petersy in the red, white and blue of the Netherlands champion. Van der Heijden does the same behind. Then it's Vos going on early here, getting on board very quickly indeed. So pit number 2 coming up very shortly. We're just going to take a little bit of a look back at the riders coming in and through. You can just see, Van Empel and Puck Petersen side by side as they come in. There wasn't a lot of room there for Van Empel as she squeezed through that gap. Alvarado closing on the wheel of Vos at the moment. They are racing in that 6th or 7th position now. Van Empel dives into the pit. Who else is going to go in? Is anybody going to go in and change bike this time's round? It's Van Empel who goes in. Quick bike change, so clearly no issues for Brand as she came in through. No punctures for her. Just those tyres super soft as they go onto the hard stuff. Trying to get as much grip as is possible. Now, big long downhill drop down. Then it's a full turnaround. 180 degree back up and then a back down to another 180 wide line taken by Petersen. These are conditions that she likes, conditions that really suit her. You can see just how buggy it is going wide in, trying to find what little of the grass is left here in Hoogerheide. So Puck Petersen's season at 1, second place at 3, third place. She'd dearly love to go away from here into the World Championships with a win. And those behind will want to have something to say about that as Puck Petersen heads back down in towards that VIP area once again. That's a massive building behind the temporary structure behind the big VIP area down here at Hoogerheide, playing host to the final round of the UCI 2024-25 Cyclo-cross World Cup. And as we see Petersen continue to push here, Brand, the nearest of the chasers, really winding up the power now on that long flat section as they've come down. Van der Heijden right in the mix as well. The gap opening up 5 seconds from Petersen to Brand at the moment. You can see that chasing group immediately behind her there. They have work to do as Clazel starts to drop backwards down through the field. A little bit further back in this race field. Watch out, Katie Glass currently sitting in 14th place. Schreiber dropping down to 15th, so it could be her challenge for the under 23 is definitely done and dusted with. Good riding by Verse still inside the top 20. Jury also inside the top 20 with Kant. A little bit further back, Schladenova in 22nd place. Vidal Lopez to Salaman 23rd, Isabel Holmgren 24th position, and at the moment riding out the top 25 is Dean Muller. So the long drag section up away from VIP, heading up towards the road, heading up towards where the old bypass used to be, around the side of Hoogerheide before it got filled in, taken back and away and returned back to not having the big old bridge. These hurdles, these planks, these steps, they look absolutely huge today. The maximum height allowed is 40 centimetres. And I bet that's every single millimetre of those 40 centimetres on the way through here. Really hard to get up and over those. And when your legs are burning, that dismount and remount is going to be absolutely critical. So Brand closing down the gap to put Petersen behind. You can see that Backstead not worrying too much as they come down this descent. This is where we saw Pauline Ferrand-Prévot and Yolanda Neff-Tangle in the 2018 World Cup here on that descent down. And that's where they both came down, and that ended both their cross and mountain bike seasons for a while. As we see Backstead, she's looking very cool and calm up onto those steps, casually running up 2 steps at a time, bike on the shoulders. More of a sprint coming behind from sailing. And it's into this cambered descent. This takes us down onto the tarmac for the run towards that finish line. Well, Blanca Versch, to say that she said that this wasn't a course that would necessarily suit her. She's clearly riding well at the moment. She's got Backstead in front of her. Now the reverse way round than they were at the finish of the race yesterday. And they're chasing Brad and Puck Petersen at the moment. 1 lap complete. 3.2k done here. Puck Petersen's lap time, a 9-minute 37-second lap. Behind Brand, then the Backstead-Vash duo. Alvarado leading Van der Heijden and Fem van Empel at the moment. Now, I just said at the start of the show it was mathematically possible to see just for Van Empel to actually lose the second place. If Vash was to take the win and Zoe Backstead was to come in second place in this race and Van Empel was to score no points in this race, then it is possible that Van Empel would drop down into fourth place. The likelihood of that, though, well, to be fair, there's more likelihood of finding a dry blade of grass out on the course here today than that happening. Brand overtaking, Peter C just coming out from that run section, starting to open a gap on this slight climb. It's still buggy on the climb. You can still see the movement as they come past the pit here by Brand on the bike, just trying to hunt for those drier sections. You can just see slightly lighter grass sections behind. So no problems in the pit area. We have seen a few congested, tangled moments in there. It's been quite decisive on the way through. Well, look at that, a shoulder and elbow to elbow on the way through. Vash and Backstead again tangle on the exit. They were bumping and barging on the way down. No quarter given. They know that this is going to be absolutely critical. They were bumping and barging in the last race. They're doing the same here. Keep your eyes on the riders in third and fourth place. At the moment, Peter C and Brand leading as they come round this corner. Behind, we have seen already a bit of argy-bargy bouncing about from the riders behind. Neither rider wanting to give ground, neither rider wanting to cede the position at the moment. It's Backstead in the ascendancy as they come through this boggy section, this muddy section. A lot of the leaf drop from the trees, a lot of that coming down into this section over the years. We're still up on the ridge that runs its way along this section here in the Netherlands, down on the lower floodplain. You've got a lot of silt and build up over the years. It's a different type of soil as you go out. It's just a little bit greasier. It does drain quite well normally from the top to bottom, but the plateau at the moment absolutely saturated. Now the speed lifting up now as we go along this flatter section through the chicanes. Now Backstead and Vash just ease back a little, turn the notch down a little bit on the aggro meter, because at the moment it's looking a little bit calmer between the two riders. I'm sure that won't last. It was certainly a case of seeing who would blink first coming into the corners earlier on. Conditions here today just that bit drier on more of the course. You can see less spray up on the riders than we saw in Maasmechelen in the previous round yesterday. Van Empel yesterday not having a great day. Lots of slips and slides, lots of mistakes from her. Lots of times where that bike just didn't go where she wanted it. We saw her sliding out and losing position time and time again. Now Peter C and Brand at the lead of this race. The gap back about 7 seconds back to the chasers. There we are on our screens. 8 seconds it comes in at. Well, my counting's clearly not that far off at the moment. Really interesting difference in technique there. Brand choosing to leave the bike down on the floor. Peter C with it up on his shoulder. You've got to wonder why Brand was doing that at that stage, whether it's just a little stumble or a little mistake on that dismount as they come through. Then you can see that we've got Backstead along with Vash there, and Backstead, it almost felt like she was feeling the spokes for the tension in that front wheel to see if it was still all right there. I can't imagine she's cleaning something off from the middle of the spokes there. She goes through unless something had got tangled on a previous part of the course. If she's got any queries, of course, she'll go straight into the pit to exchange the bike. Just going to try and take a little look at the front wheel. If it is a snap spoke or similar or damaged, then you would expect to see that rim moving side to side within the fork crown on the front of the bike. No such thoughts, I think, for the riders up at the front of the race, but definitely at the moment, Baxter just started to lose a little bit of ground to Vash. Let's see if she comes into the pit here. The gap has opened up, and maybe just a little nagging doubt in her mind as she goes up through this section. She didn't go into the pit, though, but the gap opening between Vash and Baxter. They are the riders fighting out. And remember, as they came into this race, Blanca Vash was 1 point behind Zoe Baxter in the overall series. Really, really close between them, and 1 point is 1 position, hence that fight for position being so tight. So Vash looking to stay ahead of Baxter to open up that gap. If they're tied on points, it will go to the rider, go on to count back. And basically, if it's on the same points, it's whoever gets the best position in this race that will decide the positions in the overall series standings. Over the big bridge with Hoogerheide, the village in the background. Our 2 leaders continue to push onwards. A quick look back at Puck Petersen, Fem Van Empel and Lucinda Brown there. Puck Petersen currently leading this race out with Brad shadowing her, taking the tight inside line. Petersen carrying the speed around the outside there. They're going to do a left-hand turn. Those positions reversed as Brand accelerates. Look at the power coming down here. Wants to go into that corner first. This is a section where she was able to power away previously. She's able to deliver that. A mistake now, a problem for Puck. Now, that is an unusual place to lose that wheel. It may well be there's a deeper rut just to the side. Puck Petersen going down, and Vash has seen that, instantly takes the wider line. Quick reactions. But Petersen back up again. Well, Petersen twice on the floor in 2 races. An uncharacteristic mistake there from Puck. She's just not looked quite as sharp over the last weekend as maybe she would have wanted to be. And every time you hit the deck, it not only hurts you, it can damage the bike. We're going to have to see if that's still in one piece. It certainly looks like Puck just picking herself back up, getting into position. And now Vash has got a rider in between her and Baxter as Fem Van Empel makes her way back onto the back wheel there. Baxter, Brand leading here. Let's take a look at this corner coming in and around. But Petersen just came a cropper here. Almost like she was trying to correct it. The wheel was stuck in the rut, just got misbalanced across there as they come up over the planks, over the hurdles, knowing that surely today is going to be bunny hopping those with such a poor takeoff, middle and landing and takeoff, and then a landing on the far side. That's not going to make life easy. From that section then it's past the flats, past the Ullenberg flats here. There's the built on the side of the old road, then the drop down here to where the road used to come underneath the old bypass section, and then onto what's known as the stairway to heaven. At the moment, the World Cup leader and World Cup winner is leading the race and looking to add a final victory to a long string of podiums this season, and to set herself up for a fantastic run into the World Championships in Leuven. That's next weekend. Van Empel, after a shaky start, moving up. Brand foot out on that section, drops back down here, sweeps round the bend. That gap opening up, it's shown on our time screen, it's about 10 seconds at the last time gap as they came through. What's it going to be at the line? This is lap 2 of 5 laps complete. Long look back from Fem Van Empel, sandwiched in between. We've got plenty of riders. They drop down here. So coming up, hugging those barriers, keeping out of the wind. It's Brand who goes through 19 minutes of racing complete. She completes lap 2. Then it's Vash in second place, followed by Petersen in third. Fem Van Empel onto the heels of Petersen now. So Petersen's next opportunity to go into the pit if there is an issue with the bike. Up the climb here on the road over the bridge where Brand has just navigated and then round down into the pit. This is as boggy, I think, as I've ever seen this descent off from this bridge. It's regularly just a straight ride. This is notoriously quite a quick course today. Less riding. The riders not continuing to push as far as they can into there. You can just see Zoe Backstead there freewheeling onto the back of Buck Peterson, who had dismounted. Further down, well, in the red, white and blue, that is Marie Schreiber just in front of Leonie Benfeld. And at the moment, Schreiber, the rider who started off the weekend, she was sitting right up in what was 4th place. She dropped down to 5th place in the standings yesterday. She's in danger of dropping further down because Inga van der Heijden is having a good ride, sailing Alvarado, not a bad ride, and Puck Peterson at the moment a storming ride up in the front 3. Pit crews handing those bikes over, get out of the way as fast as they can, trying to leave a clean departure through as they come through. Celine Alvarado currently in 6th position, just slowly clawing away back into those top 5. Lucinda Brand leading, heading out round that left-hand turn. Still keeping that bike smooth, still getting the power down. She normally gets stronger as we get in towards the end of a race. If it gets stronger, that means she's just going to continue to open up the gap. Vash at the moment quickly off the bike, running on that left-hand side. Peterson and Van Empel choosing to rise, staying on the bike, as does Backstead, and Alvarado's doing the same. That's going to allow them to close the gap down. Peterson past Vash on the inside there. Big ruts around the right-hand turn really starting to get established as you come down in the drop off this banking. If you hit this hard enough, you can literally take off. You've got to keep that bike pushed down, keep it in contact, keep the grip as you come down and through. Fast descent down here as they come down onto the lower river plain here. So one of the faster sections, although it's still a little bit slippery, a little bit muddy, it's nowhere near the same conditions that you see on some of those upper reaches on the upper plateau where the water is still standing, where the mud really has got deep. There are 1 or 2 deeper sections down here as well, but predominantly this is the faster section of the course here, and Brand making the most of that. The gap opening up at 11 seconds at our last time check. To the Vash Peterson duo behind Van Empel right on their heels. That it's Backstead, Alvarado, Van der Heijden, Casasola, Falconet and Schreiber rounding out the top 10. Peterson side by side, she won't go very far, I don't think, trying to muscle Vash out of the way. Vash quite prepared to put the elbows out in return on the way through, and Buck Peterson's going to be running in to that fast section when she comes back from the pit. Will she still have Vash in attendance? Brand off to the left of the bike on the shoulder this time around rather than running it up the banking. Continuing that run up was a fantastic World Cup winner already, a phenomenal performance. She was asked by Celine Alvarado on one of the podcasts, on the Digital Talks podcast, how did she keep going so long, how did she stay motivated all these years, all these winning performances, all these podiums, and she said that it was a lot to do with not having raced on the road, to really focusing on the cyclocross, then coming back out the other side. Really interesting to see what motivates these riders now. The chasing group, Van Empel after making contact with the group, and Celine Alvarado also making contact with the group, but it's Van Empel who's pushed away through into second position here. Peterson in third, Vash in fourth. The gap opening to Backstead at the moment, and Alvarado just behind her. Backstead cannot afford to let Blanca Vash go above her. She would drop down out of that third place in the series standings. She'll still take away the series win in the under-23, the only challenger to Backstead in the under-23 competition. Marie Schreiber currently languishing, I wish I was languishing, 13th position in the World Cup. It's still not where Schreiber would have wanted to be. slow style. Lucinda Brown pulling all of that power down through the pedals, continuing to accelerate away the gap, still hovering around 11 seconds as they came into the pit, now going out to about 18 seconds on our last time check. That's just seen Marianne Vos, a did not finish here coming up on our timing screens. Clearly an incident for Vos. If we do get news of what's happened, we'll get back to you. But Vos was right up in the mix early on, but dropped out of the contention and dropping, I think, out of the race. We'll try and get any news of that as it comes to us. We'll get that to you as soon as we can. I know son of Lucinda Brown slowing down, never mind stopping at the moment on lap 3 of 5. While on the way past the VIP, well over half a race at distance covered for Brand. To the left of right-hand turn, this right-hand turn where we saw Puck Peterson having that those problems the previous lap. Rash defending position there, just closing the door on Van Empel. Van Empel moves to the left-hand side, looking to make that power count. Goes in on the inside this time, pushes Vash down behind her. Vash, though, takes the wide line, goes onto that grass on the outside. But Peterson comes from slightly wider in that time round. Keeps focus, all three riders through safely, keeping it rubber side down. Onto the climb up towards the planks, up towards the hurdles. You can see that gap now, 20 seconds between first and second place. Lucinda Brand looking to seal the season of World Cup races off with a win. So Lucinda Brown, the fastest rider in lap number 2 at 9:25. The time from her as she made her way up and over the top. We'll see what that lap time is as she comes round towards the end of lap 3. Currently on that plateau before the big drop down, heading into the stairs over the paving. That right-hand turn, you can see the amount of mud being dragged off that descent and round and through. Just a bit drier on this section at the moment as Brand bike on shoulder. The crowds in the background looking on. Bash, Van Empel and Peterson, 2 spots on the podium available from those 3 riders at the moment. Brando takes a long look across, no problems at all. She won't even be able to see them. They're on the steps, such is the distance between the race leader and the chasers behind. She's coming in towards the line here. She's going to come around this right-hand turn. She comes out from behind the crowds, banging on the boards here in Hoogerheide, cheering on the World Cup winner, a very popular rider. A rider who's given everything into a cyclo-cross this season, doing a very packed schedule. Was planned at every single race, including Cabrasa round that got cancelled. Had to bring some weather reports instead. So just to paraphrase the word from the Visible Lisa bike team, Marianne Vos has had to withdraw from the race. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and she'll be back racing next week. That's the gist of the release from the team. So clearly nothing too serious. As we see, Zoe Backstead at put a big road style attack there on Alvarado. It came in through the line. So at the line, 23 seconds the gap between our leader and these 3 chasers behind. Oh, Puck Peterson, she came down the ramp. When she dismounted, she had a little bit of a stumble. That's another stumble from Puck Peterson. And I'm sure I'd seen a stat telling me that the most registered crashes in one season in 2023 was Puck Peterson. She'd have more than anybody else. I don't know if that counts as a crash or a stumble there, but stumbles happen, mistakes happen, errors happen, falls tend to happen when you're tired, when you're right on the limit. It's easy to keep it smooth, to keep control when you're not on the limit, but when you are being pushed right to your very limit by the world's best riders, that's when you're going to make those mistakes, when those errors start to creep in. No errors for Brand, no pressure from the riders alongside, because nobody can stay with her at the moment. She's clear at the front of the race. Brand leading 24 seconds, the gap currently on our timing screens. Then there's Van Empel, Vash and Pietersy. Pietersy losing the ground 3 to 4 seconds, I think that's going to be, as they come through the next time check. We'll have to wait and see what that's showing. Baxter and Alvarado, they are 5th and 6th on the course, 7th place at the moment. Currently still with Van der Heijden, with Isabella Holmgren, the Canadian youngster, making her way up into the top 10 in 8th place, moving her way up from 4th row on the grid. She's ahead of Anadina Fauconnet, the French champion. Then Sarah Casasola, who's in 10th place. Helene Clausel currently sitting in 11th position, a little bit further back down that race field, still inside the top 20. Schladernova quickly making her way up and through. We're seeing Lopez San Roman in 28th place. Yari, the youngster junior who was flying, took a medal here in the junior competition, just ahead of Ferguson, another rider who's gone strongly here in the past. They're just hovering around the top 30. Full on foot out flat around the corner there for Fem Van Empel. There's Marie Schreiber. That's going to be a withdrawal there, looking like she's gone down pretty heavily. There, taking deep breaths, so just pointing where she's gone down. You can see the taping on her neck and her shoulder. She didn't have a good day yesterday in the race. She had punctures as well as hitting the deck a few times, and may well just be feeling those after effects. The riders very aware of what they need to do when they're running in towards the World Championships. It's going to be in the back of the riders' minds when they're out on that race route. Schreiber is going to be a did not finish. That means she's going to top her points out, so long as she doesn't jump back out on the bike at 205 points, and that means her 5th place is potentially up for grabs. Behind her, it's only 10 points back from Schreiber to Van der Heijden, and Alvarado is not that far back as we see Van Empel come down, comes round that turn, hits the deck. Well, it was mistakes that cost her a race podium yesterday. Into this right-hand turn, can't keep it straight, the bike goes out underneath her. I'm not sure how Blanca Vash managed to avoid her coming in and across. There was no way that she could turn on that section, and that has just opened the door there for Pietersy to come back over the top, and Blanca Vash to go in front of Fem Van Empel. Slips and slides, so we've seen Pietersy having problems on those turns. Van Empel has as well. Lucinda Brown's going so far, she's now lapping riders who set off at the same time. There is an 80% rule cut-off in place. That's at just to the far side of the hurdles as they go round the course. However, it's so quick now on the front, and I think this course just riding in that little bit at the moment that we are seeing the riders getting just that bit quicker. The lap times hovering around about 9.5 minutes or so after lap number 1. So not really much change from the riders, despite the fact they've been out and racing longer. Brand still pretty metronomic in her pace here, looking pretty smooth with that at the moment. The fastest lap time, ironically, actually currently still with Pietersy. She has the fastest lap time of anybody. However, in 3rd place, it's no good putting one lap together fast. You've got to put them all together and make no mistakes. And at the moment, Lucinda Brand is the rider who's doing that the best. So the world champion just having to go straight and unable to turn the bike round, hitting the floor. The bike's going to go into the pit. There's going to be a change here as well. I don't think that error, though, was due to a lack of grip. She came in tight. It's okay if you've got the ability to get it around the corner. Going wide, though, seems to be the favoured option on those lower slopes. Able to take the grip, to keep that control. Lucinda Brand, though, very quickly up over the bank here. Brand still focused coming round those turns. backstead on the upper turns, just sliding that bike out, so right on the ragged edge on that left-hand turn. Celine Alvarado still trying to hold on to the riders at the front, sitting in 5th place at the moment. So Vash makes her way up the bank. You can see that speed differential as the riders are being lapped here. The world's best at the very front of this race. A big race field here today of 7 riders from 20 nations. But no doubt in the rider on the front. And the rider who is doing that lapping, it is Lucinda Brand. She's leading the way around here on lap 4 of 5, the penultimate lap. She will go out for her last lap when she hits the line next time. 2nd place at the moment, Blanca Vash. What a great weekend for her. If she can hold on to this position, she would dearly love to be right up at the front and make it a double weekend. She had 1 podium prior to this weekend in the World Cup season. She's done all 10 of the races contested so far and got her best position, a 3rd place in Dublin. Sorry, a 3rd place in Besançon. However, that win yesterday really showing on what she's capable of. She said she preferred it more like yesterday than today. Well, she's still holding 2nd place as Lucinda Brand comes into the planks, the barriers, the hurdles quickly up and over. That's into that same section, lifts the bike up and over. She said she doesn't like running, and I'm not surprised. Her riding skills absolutely superb at the moment, really making it look easy on the way round, to riding the maybe unconventional line, taking those wide lines and keeping it smooth and keeping it controlled. And really not needing to run as much as the rest of the competitors as Brand comes up the stairs for the penultimate time. Only once more for her this race up to the top, but that's going to be when she comes around next lap. At the moment though, ready to drop down as our cameraman moves across the other side to see 2nd place Blanca Vash drop in here. Most of the riders take maybe that different line to Vash. Vash really tight, actually coming down on there on the inside line there, then running it wide out on the outside, up onto the steps and keeping it smooth as you can hear the shouts going out down on that start-finish straight for Lucinda Brand. So the bell will ring. 1 more lap to go here in the women's elite race. 1 more lap to go in the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup for 2024-25. Lucinda Brand leading. Her gap at the moment holding about half a minute on that last half of the penultimate lap. And on that section, we are starting to see that gap come down. But will it come down enough? Will it go back out again? I think it's gone back out because the time it's going to take Vash to hit the line, it's going to be more than another 4 or 5 seconds. Here she comes, she goes through, it's holding 27 seconds. It's round about that half a minute marker. It's going to be Petersey who goes out onto the next lap. She's going to go out onto lap number 5 in 3rd place. Behind her, the world champion who took her first title here, first elite title here. That is Fem van Empel. She took a title into Bourg last year. She'll be looking to defend that when she goes to leaving in France next week. But would you want to bet against Lucinda Brand, the rider who has not been off the podium this season, the rider who has not been off the podium in the World Cup this season, a rider who has been able to stitch together an unparalleled series of podium positions and amassed enough points to have won the World Cup outright with a round still to go. Blanca Vash in for a bike. You can see it's not really so much on the frame as it is just clogging up those tyres as the wind continues to blow. There's no more rain coming down. It will be drying out. It will be getting stickier. And unless that rain comes in a little bit later on today, it could well be that we are going to see the conditions become one of those real rear neck ripping, claggy, gluey sort of races where we see more damage for the bike. Peterson with that bike down, not a smooth bike ejection on the way out there. The bike hitting the floor. Peterson continues to push, so Fem van Empel behind. We've seen that so many times. Brand, though, at the moment, he's making this look relatively easy. Just coming round those twists and turns, dropping back down, heading out and away from pit through the wood, and then onto the lower section. Vash chasing at the time gap, still hovering around 30 seconds or so. Blanca Vash keeping the power down despite the back wheels slipping, spinning and moving about underneath behind her. But Peterson trying to carry as much momentum on here, takes that tighter line around the inside, searching for the dry section just out to the left-hand side. Maybe a little bit less wheel spin from her as she went over that section. The gap between Vash and Peterson around about 15 seconds or so separating them. And then we've got Fem van Empel currently in 4th place, Alvarado in 5th, Backstead in 6th, Volkane in 7th, Casasola in 8th, Van der Heijden in 9th, and Holmgren in 10th position. Now your top 10 at the moment as we go round. Lucinda Brand will extend her lead at the top. She's already won the series. It's just about that race win here today and what that does in terms of setting her up for the World Championships next week. Blanca Vash, though, is currently propelling herself up through the standings here. Now, we have seen notable riders go out of the series. Blanca Vash has the potential to move up through the series standings. At the moment, she is overtaking Zoe Backstead and moving herself into a top 3 position. The gap between Blanca Vash and Fem van Empel, well, that gap was 31 points coming in, so it's not going to be the case that she's going to be able to move herself up in front of Fem van Empel at the moment, because she currently is sitting she takes 2nd place. She'll take 30 points, and that will put her 1 point behind Fem van Empel. But Van Empel looks like she's going to score points here today, and that will allow her to keep on pushing it up ahead. Backstead, though, dropping down behind. But Peterson not figuring in the top riders. She's 8th in the series overall. She moved from 9th to 8th in yesterday's race. She's going to move up once again, but it won't be enough to challenge at the very front of the race. A huge number of riders now being distanced by the speed of Lucinda Brand. If you're within 1 minute of the race lead, well, you're in the top 4 riders here today. If you are within 2 minutes of our race lead, it put you in the top 10 in the race. And at the moment, to stay in, even if you're within 5 minutes of the race lead, that'll put you in the top 30 or so positions in the race here today. That is how fast Lucinda Brand is moving, and the front of this race is travelling. Brand 34 seconds clear of Vash. Brand ahead of Vash, ahead of Peterson, ahead of Van Empel, Alvarado, Backstead, Volkane, Casasola, Van der Heijden and Hoogerheide in those positions. Still holding at the moment. No real change in position. But we're coming in around towards the end of the last lap here. This is going to be the last passage through the pit at the top of this climb. A bike change here will cost you time, but it will keep you safe. Well, the battle was glory. Lions rider Lucinda Brand making it look smooth. So quick on that bike. And at the moment showing no signs of slowing down. Coming around her last lap was a 9:28, a 9:25, a 24 and a 33 are her lap times for the first 4 laps. Brand, though, just starting to make an error. Oh, and she holds it up. That could have been a full-on sideways plant down into the mud. She went from her right to her left there on the run down into the bridge, carrying lots of speed. Are we seeing the first signs of fatigue? Well, with Lucinda Brand, that will have cost her time. She had 34 seconds in the bank between herself and Vash. Vash is behind now. She'll only have lost a few of those seconds, but is it a sign she's getting tired? She can't afford to make mistakes. She won't just lose a little bit of time. If she loses it a little bit by little bit, it won't be enough. for her to drop down. If she makes a big mistake, though, that could cost her the position. She can't afford to do that. Maybe the time just to back off a little bit for Brand. Make sure that she can just make sure she keeps those lines dialed. Could just be that she just hit a random thing down in the mud. I think put Peterson there, running over a phone from a spectator there that dropped down in the mud. I don't think that's going to be enough to take the riders out of contention, though. They'll flatten that down into a few layers of mud down here in Hoogerheide. As Lucinda Brand starts to make her way onto the ascent, she's going to be overtaking another rider here on the final lap here. So just going past Sofia Ungarova of Slovakia, and it shows you 95th in the world on the world rankings at the moment, Ungarova, but being passed around inside the top 100 riders in the world, still being passed by Lucinda Brand and getting laps on the last lap here today. As Brand makes her way into the boggy section, heading up towards those planks, the barriers, the hurdles for the very last time. Being chased by Blanka Vash. The gap had dropped down because of that slight dive across the course by Brand to 27 seconds at the last time check from Lucinda Brand. But Brand looking like she's going to round this off in style at the moment. So Vash over the hurdles the last time, places that bike back down. One more real running section for her, back up the steps on the far side. As Brand comes diving down the banking here, she takes the wider outside line into this corner. The bike will go up onto her shoulder for the last time this season, the last time this race up these steps. She's into her last few hundred metres of racing here today. A real masterclass from the World Cup winner, the world champion, currently in 4th place, still trying to stay in contention, keep hold of that place. Won't want to drop back towards sailing Alvarado, but Alvarado about 30 seconds down on Van Empel at the moment. So 2nd place, Blanka Vash goes up onto the stairs as the high fives are out. What a season for this rider here. It is Lucinda Brand. She's going to make her way up the straight. She comes round the right hand turn. She straightens the jersey. The Baloise Lions rider, the World Cup winner. 3 wins, 6 second places, 2 third places. It's certainly on the podium all season at the World Cup. Lucinda Brand takes victory and seals the season win in style. Blanka Vash comes up towards the line. Great weekend for her. A win yesterday at Maasmechelen, a 2nd place here today, and she will be propelling herself up through the series standings. She will finish in 3rd place because of a great weekend out. Blanka Vash comes through. Got to be a challenger when we go to the Worlds next week. But Peter C is back. She may have made a few mistakes on the way round, but she has made her way through the finishing straight and round the course in 3rd place. The Netherlands champion finishing ahead of the nemesis on this course for her. That is Sven Van Empel, the world champion, though. We'll be focusing now on next week, defending those rainbow bands. Sven Van Empel across the line in 4th position. So Brand in 1, Vash in 2, Peter C in 3, Van Empel in 4, and it's going to be Sailing Alvarado, the former world champion, looking to come out of this weekend feeling good and ready for next week. I think she'll be pleased with a 5th place here today. Maybe not so pleased with the time gap between herself and Lucinda Brand. But Sailing Alvarado is going to round out our top 5 here today at Hoogerheide at round number 12 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. 6th place here today. It is the win in the under-23 competition. Zoe Backstead led coming in. She's going to go away the victor in the under-23 series. Clear of Mary Schreiber in 2nd and Leonie Benfeld in 3rd place. Those positions unable to change behind her. A great ride by Inga van der Heijden coming through to take away Anna Casasola coming away to take away a 7th place here today. Van der Heijden is going to come in behind, being passed by Casasola on the way back as they make their way up and through. And then it is going to be Adine Fokene who comes through just ahead of Isabella Holmgren. And then it's going to be Helene Clausel coming through to take 11th place. Denise Betzemer on 12th place as they come through over the line of this final climb. And one thing it doesn't show is just how steep this is. Our next rider in is going to be Bakker. So Manon Bakker having a good race here today. She's had a great weekend, just the time to come into form. And so we've just done some quick maths down here in the studio here. Brand taking the win, confirmed in the overall. Femman Empel in 2nd place. We make this. Zoe Backstead has dropped down to 4th place with Vash taking 3rd overall. Zoe Backstead taking 4th. Inga van der Heijden potentially taking 5th place here. Mary Schreiber dropping to 6th place. Celine Alvarado in 7th. Put Peter C in 8th. Manon Bakker in 9th. And Leonie Benveld taking 10th. The under-23 top 3. Zoe Backstead number 1. Marie Schreiber in 2. And Leonie Benveld in 3. They're all provisional, subject to very dodgy maths on the way through. So please do take that with a pinch of salt until we get the official results in. Leonie Benveld comes through, just taking that sprint in across the line from Julie Brouwers, having a good ride here today. So Brouwers coming back into form. That's her best result here, I think. Her previous best result was the 11th place in the under-23 World Championships here. At the elite race, as we just see coming in behind, we've got Anne-Marie West and then Victoria Sardanova, then Sanakan coming through for the Creelan Corridor team in 18th position. 19th is going to be Jensi Peters, and I think the top 20 rounded out by Anadine Muller of France. Marion Riverol heading up the straight here. She's chasing those riders into the line. I think I can see the red jersey there just going in front of the DeCuster Balfront rider in over the line as these riders come in and through, but subject to confirmation. So Muller taking 20th, Van Alphen 21st place. And they've changed again on that very last section. I think then it's Riberola who comes through ahead of Garibaldi. What a great ride here today. A fantastic ride, and one rider who certainly
another mudfest to top off the World Cup. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was, I think, a really hard race today. In the beginning, we were, it was quite tight racing, and we were passing each other. I think there was one woman today that stood out, and for the rest, it was a hard battle.
Will she stand out on the Worlds too?
Maybe, yeah. She's in a really good shape. I don't know how the others are feeling and what the next week will bring, but I think right now she's maybe the best woman riding.
Celine Alvarado, welk gevoel houdt je over aan Hoogerheide?
Ondanks mijn 5e plaats denk ik dat ik wel tevreden mag zijn met vandaag. Het was weer een stukje sterker als gisteren en een heel stuk sterker als de afgelopen weken. Dus langzamerhand verbeter ik wel en hopelijk is het genoeg voor volgende week.
Genoeg voor volgende week op het WK, dus dat gevoel zit ook goed?
Ja, ik denk het wel. Zolang mijn groeicurve blijft omhoog gaan, is het goed, denk ik. Ik heb wat zware week achter de rug, zowel met ziekte als met rugblessure. De rugblessure is nu wel voorbij en de ziekte ook. Alleen merk ik dat het gewoon even tijd nodig heeft voordat ik terug op niveau ben.
Dus misschien komt het dan net op tijd, of net niet?
Inderdaad. En laten we hopen dat het net op tijd is.
Dankjewel.
Well, Celine Alvarado, all smiles at the end of that, and potentially tipping the fact that we're going to see one woman up at the top when we move in to Lucinda Brand taking the win here today. Will she be the rider who takes away the win at the World Championships?
Lucinda Brand, congratulations. That is one performance to top off the GC in the World Cup.
Yeah, it's a great way to finish the whole cup.
How did you feel from the beginning?
The beginning, the first lap was alright, was not amazing. But then when Puk and me were together, I felt already good. So I thought, we can continue together and let's see how it ends up. Then she made a mistake, so I knew I had to take my chance to keep pushing and the others never came back.
On to the Worlds with a great feeling and great confidence.
Exactly, yes.
Thanks. Lucinda Brandt, gefeliciteerd. Een stevige prestatie om die winst in de Wereldbeker nog wat extra glans te geven.
Ja, het is heel mooi om zo de laatste van de hele serie ook op mijn naam te zetten. En dan maak ik een mooi klassement van. Zo.
Had je van in het begin het gevoel van ik heb hier de controle?
De eerste ronde niet per se, maar toen Puk en ik samen zaten wist ik wel dat het goed zat. Toen maakte zij een foutje en ja, dan wist ik van dan moet ik nu gewoon door blijven zetten. Zodat ze heel veel moeite hebben om terug te komen en dat lukt dus ook niet meer.
Jij blijft die prestaties aan elkaar rijgen. Hè? Waar blijf je toch halen?
Ja, ik weet het echt niet. Het is moeilijk te analyseren waar dat precies in zit. Dus we zullen het er maar op houden dat alle kleine puzzeltjes gewoon helemaal perfect in elkaar zitten momenteel.
En dus ga je met heel veel vertrouwen en een prima gevoel naar het WK.
Absoluut, zeker.
Dankjewel.
Well, Lucinda Brandt taking away a top spot here today, taking away the win. She sealed that yesterday with 1 round to go, and she didn't have a lap of honour today, and she didn't take it easy. She came round, she had to battle in the early stages, but she showed just why she's been so consistent. Hardly a tyre tread wrong on this tough course here at Hoogerheide. And would you want to bet against her taking another title to add to her World Championship wins already? Well, that's going to be in a week's time. We're going to be in Leven for the World Championships. A great season by Lucinda Brandt, the Baloise Glory Lions rider, never off the podium the entire season, and a rider who topped the World Cup season with a win. So let's take a look at the results and hopefully the standings from today. Lucinda Brandt confirmed as our race winner. 47 minutes 47 seconds of racing done for her, with Vash, Petersen and Van Empel in their backstead ahead of Casasola. Holmgren rounding out the top 10. Now let's have a look and see whether the maths was right in the studio. Lucinda Brandt taking away top spot as we knew she would. Van Empel holding on to second place. Vass taking that third place with Baxter dropping down into fourth, but taking the win in the under-23 competition ahead of Mary Schreiber and Leonie Benfeld. You can catch up with all of the results on the UCI website. There's UCI.org, and if you go on there, navigate by discipline to cyclo-cross, and then you'll find the World Cups on there. Then you can have a look on the race hub there and get all of those results and the lap times. Let's take a look back at today's race. So here on the tarmac start, the uphill sprint in towards the right-hand turn in the bridge and the mud. A quick kick from the line from Helene Clazel put her right up in contention at the start of this race. Voss moving from row 5 into P5, but as they made their way round, Lucinda Brandt not all that far out from the front of the race. They came in past pit number 2, the world champion in for a bike. A few mistakes from the world champion today, costing her plenty of time. Brand battling with Van der Heijden, battling with Backstead, with Vash and with Alvarado early on. Voss chasing ahead of the world champion at the stairway to heaven. The bigger steps really showing the difference in riders. Backstead and Vash separated by 1 point coming into the final race of the season, were shoulder to shoulder at the front of the race. But Petersen wasn't shouldered off, she hit the mud, just got the front wheel course up, it slipped out as Vash went round the outside, cool as a cucumber, keeping it smooth and just watching the riders around her, and it really was an indication of the race. Petersen with another stumble, dropped her down onto the floor. Meanwhile, mid-race, Voss out, retired. We saw Schreiber retiring from the race, maybe both with an eye on the World Championships. It was no plain sailing for the world champion. She went down on one of those tight right-hand turns as well. No slips, no stumbles really for Lucinda Brandt, though anywhere out on the course. She was racing away round. The lack of mistakes by Blanca Vash, keeping her clear of the riders behind. Petersen chasing behind. A last-minute scare for Brandt on the descent. She hung on to the barriers to take the win by a big margin, sealing her victory here today with a big smile, with a punch of the air. A win today, a win in the series overall, never off the podium for Brand. Vash completes a fantastic weekend for her with second place and a third place for Puck Peterson, maybe issuing a warning shot to the rest of the riders. So Puck Peterson in action, let's hear from her now.
Puck Peterson, it's been a crash-marked race for you, but the podium is there.
Yeah, happy about that. It was close together with 3 for the podium spots. So yeah, happy to be in third.
And happy about the feeling?
Yeah, I think so. I was feeling much better than last week already. So yeah, that was good. And I'm just happy it was a nice fight.
Puck Peterson, heb je gevloekt over die valpartijen vandaag?
Ja, ik denk dat iedereen een beetje op zijn limiet reed vandaag. En dan is een foutje zo gemaakt.
En het kost wel duur natuurlijk, omdat Lucinda op dat moment ook vertrekt bij die ene valpartij.
Ja, klopt. Maar als je uiteindelijk ziet wat voor gat ze nog pakt. Ik heb echt de hele wedstrijd volle bak doorgereden en Lucinda bleef maar uitlopen. Dus ik denk niet dat het alleen aan de valpartij lag vandaag.
Het gevoel met het WK in het achterhoofd, hoe zit dat?
Ja, ik denk dat het alleen maar beter kan eigenlijk. Als ik komende week goede dingen doe, dan kan ik met vertrouwen naar het weekend gaan, denk ik.
Hoe ziet die komende weken dan uit voor jou? Wat plan je dan?
Ik denk focus nog net wat meer ligt op herstel. Dus het zal misschien niet superveel fietsen zijn. Maar het fietsen wat je doet wel echt de puntjes goed uitgekiemd en goed nagedacht over wat je dan precies doet.
Succes daarmee, dank je.
Well, but Peterson setting herself up for potentially a good weekend, certainly feeling good about the race. It was a very hard-fought race. She was battling all the way through. Started off battling with Peterson and with Van Empel in the end. She was battling herself out on that course, trying not to make any mistakes on the way through. A good week's training now in the run up to the World Championships, and she's definitely going to be a rider to watch when we go to Leven, which at the moment looks like it's having very similar conditions to Hoogerheide. Some very boggy sections, some drier sections as well, and it may well be that today was a rerun of that. Peterson taking third place ahead of Blanca Vash with a first place win at Maasmechelen yesterday, taking second place here today. Let's see what she has to say about today's race.
Blanca Vash, although there was quite some running today, you did very well.
Yes, the running part was really hard, and I had a very bad start. But then somehow I find the rhythm, and yeah. But Lucinda was flying today.
And you're on the podium again. It's been a great weekend. How do you look back at it?
Yes, I'm very satisfied this weekend. I'm very happy with it.
Are you one of the favorites for the Worlds next week?
I still don't think so. The other girls was much better in this season. We need to see the course. For sure my shape is good, and yeah, we will see next week.
Because it could be a similar course to what you have done this weekend in Liévin in France.
Yeah, I saw some pictures, but I don't know. I hope it will be similar. I hope a bit less running, and I hope it will be technical and hard.
All the best, thanks.
I think we can promise Blanca Vash it's going to be hard. It's a World Championships, and I would definitely say one of our favourites when we go in terms of positions, in terms of form that's come out of the end of the season, a long season, but Blanca Vash having the form at the right time coming into the end of the season. She came into the day in fourth position, having moved up from fifth yesterday in the series overall. Her riding today and her position today sees her move up into third place in the series overall. Brand taking the overall victory, Van Empel second overall in the series, and Zoe Backstead taking the third place, previously being deposited down as Blanca Vash moves over the top. So Brand, Van Empel and Vash with Backstead into fourth place. Now we will have our prize ceremony coming up very shortly. The riders making their way to the interview area, then down on to the podiums, those final preparations being made, trying to keep the riders warm at the same time. It's been an absolutely frantic season in lots of ways. We've seen lots of different terrain, we've seen lots of different types of riding, we've seen riders come and go. We have seen one rider at the very, very top all the way through in terms of Lucinda Brand, never off the podium, and what a way to seal that series win today. The riders make their way to the stage. They'll be heading out front very shortly for the prize ceremony for the final round of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup for 2024-25.
Inderdaad, met een dik en dik verdiend applaus staan de dames daar op het podium. En dat applaus is Dick Fried.
We gaan beginnen, dames en heren, met de eerste vrouw, de derde in de uitslag van deze wedstrijd. Ze heeft een knappe wedstrijd afgewerkt, een heel knappe cross gereden. Ze is beloond met een derde plek en ze is ook regerend Nederlands kampioen in third place. Representing the Netherlands, een applaus voor Puk Pietersen!
So Puck Petersen up on to the podium as to a collection of third places, a fourth third place in the season so far, and at the end of that 4 World Cup, third place in the second place in the series.
In second place, after her win yesterday. Vandaag tweede na die schitterende wereldbekerzege van gisteren in Maasmechelen. Een dag later een tweede plek. Ze komt uit Hongarije, dames en heren. Uw applaus, een big round of applause voor Blanka Vos!
Blanka Vos taking the second place, moving up into that third place overall with that great ride here today, making it look smooth.
En dan de dame in het midden, de winnares van deze vijfde editie van de grote prijs, A3 van de Pool, de winnares van de wereldbeker, Lucinda Brand!
De kers op de wereldbekertaart geplaatst met een laatste zege die ze vandaag heeft behaald. En daar glundert ze uiteraard mee.
Here in Hoogerheide in the Netherlands, Lucinda Brand takes the race victory and finishes her season with a win.
Moment opluisteren met de nationale hymne met het Wilhelmus. We vragen graag uw aandacht voor dat nationale volkslied. May we have your attention please for the national anthem of the Netherlands. Welverdiend applaus voor de 3 dames op het podium. We hebben nog iets in petto voor hen.
Ja, want Jacques staat te slingeren met zijn 3 puntzakken namens Frisia. De lekkernijen, ook de zoete lekkernijen. Spekkie voor het bekkie. Ook voor de dames op het podium uiteraard voor de nummer 3, Puk Pietersen. Ook spekkie is er uiteraard voor Blanka Vos. En ook de grootste zak die gaat overhandigd worden aan de winnares bij de elite vrouwen, Lucinda Brand.
So your top 3 on the podium here today. Get up close and personal on the top step. Third place, Puck Petersen. Second place, Blanka Vos. And top spot, Lucinda Brand. Got a little bit of refueling there to keep them going and ready to head out training next week and do those final preparations for the World Championships. The crowd in the background will be going well for the selfie. You'll be able to find that on social media. Please do give not just the riders the World Cup, but also all of the sponsors who make it possible for the racing to happen a follow. If you're going up online and checking out those results, don't forget, of course, that we will be coming back for the men's race very shortly indeed. That's on the hour. Great racing in the women's series and the women's race. It really does set us up for a fantastic World Championship in 1 week's time. Will we see these same 3 riders on the podium in Leuven? in northern France. If you are planning on getting down, get your tickets in, make sure you come down. You will see the series winner down there. Lucinda Brand takes away her final jersey here. She has led on the way through. Today she had the 4 of the 5 fastest laps. She took the win, never off the podium, an absolute legend. Lucinda Brand, currently the greatest rider on the cyclocross scene.
Lucinda met de eindoverwinning in de wereldbeker veldrijden voor het seizoen 24-25.
So Lucinda Brand heads out to the backstage. She will have a few duties to do as the World Cup winner, and she will be making sure that she is all ready to go for the World Championships. I hope you're going to join us there. But from me, Matt Payne, I hope you've enjoyed the World Cup for 2024-25. I hope to see you for the men's race very shortly. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.